Big pick energy week 15, James. We got 4 more weeks of the regular
Wow.
season. Very sad to see it go, but we've had a very, very fun season. James, you continue to have an impeccable record, 35-21. It looks beautiful. I am now, though, officially no longer green. I'm not red yet, but we are 28-28. I need to get back in the win column,
Yeah.
and I'm going to do that this week.
Hell
But
yeah.
before we get into our picks for week 15, if you have not already, make sure y'all are subscribed to the channel here on YouTube. Get us on TikTok, get us on Instagram, and if you get your podcasts on Apple or Spotify, we're there as well. James, our favorites this week, you have the Bills -1.5 against the Patriots. I have the Baltimore Ravens -2.5 against the Cincinnati Bengals. James, we'll start with yours. Tell me about the Bills.
It's one of those like shining moments, Spence. You know how it is. Like,
One
you know,
shining moment.
you like when your favorite player or one of your favorite players you like watching it, always a favorite, and you know you never want to bet them because you know there's the points are so big. Josh Allen only being a 1.5 point favorite, I just gotta take it. It's just one of those things where it's like, when am I ever gonna get 1.5 points from a Josh Allen Bills team? Now, yes, hey, we know this from a fact. Drake May is owned Josh Allen. He is 3-0 against the spread against Josh Allen. Something's got to give. But I will say, of course, we're looking at a couple things. This is a big game for the Bills, one, because they need to find a way to get somehow crawling back in that AFC title. If not, the Patriots that got this in the bag if they lose this week. So that's number one. Number two, they've already lost, earlier in the season. So we're going for that revenge factor. And three, Josh Allen. I'm going to put my money on the better quarterback. I know who is the MVP right now in this year, but if it's one of those things. If I gotta bet LeBron versus Curry, I'm going LeBron all day. I'm just gonna go with Josh Allen all day on this pick.
I actually really like that, and I'm glad you saw as well. Yes, Drake May is currently the MVP frontrunner. I think the winner of this game this week is your NFL MVP, period, point blank. Because Josh Allen is, don't look now, he's doing the thing again. He's doing the Josh Allen thing where he scores a bunch of touchdowns through the air and runs a bunch in, and he puts his team on his back. No wide receivers, not much of a defense, offensive line banged up. It's just him and James Cook in a dream, and he is doing it again. And they, once again, look like one of the perennial contenders in the AFC. Some sports books have them, despite not being the top-seeded team in the AFC currently, they have them as the odds-on favorite to come out of the AFC in a lot of sports books. So for that to happen, James, I think they have to get the win this week. So I love the pick. Bills -1.5. It sounds good to me. For my pick, though, I'm going with the Ravens. And I'll tell you, James, it's a scary one for me because of how this team has looked lately. But I'm also of the opinion that this team is bad. Period, point blank. This is a bad team. We got to stop pretending that this is a good team. They're not. It's just a bad team with Joe Burrow. That's what it is. We have to address that. This is not a good team that's playing bad and has a bad defense. No, it's a bad team that has a good quarterback. And I think this offense, as good as it's been, especially since Joe Burrow's come back, I think they're going to miss T. Higgins this week, most likely, as he's back in concussion protocol, which, side note, T. Higgins was concussed in the Bills game, and it was just total negligence that he did not get taken out. Anyone that watched that game could tell he was super concussed. Now, he still had a big game, but he probably was seeing like 5 different balls coming in his way all day long. Pause. But back to this game. I think the Ravens are a desperate team, but I still believe, despite how horrible he's been this year, I still believe in Lamar. I think Lamar is going to come out. He's going to have a big game. Cincinnati is where points get scored, James. We've talked about that all year. The overs have been smashing in Cincinnati. And I think in a game where the script is over under 51.5, to me, that breeds more of a chance that the Ravens are going to be the team to get it done. They're going to air it out. The Bengals are allergic to covering the tight end position. And guess what? The Ravens have 2 very good ones in Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews. So give me the Ravens -2.5.
Yeah, no, I like the pick because it's one of those things where it's like, if the Ravens find a way to lose this game after they just lost to the Steelers last week, I think they're done for the playoffs as well. Just because I find a way that the Rodgers and the Steelers will find a way to get this AFC North title down. I expect a big shootout in this game. You mentioned the over at 51. These two teams are 8-2 to the over the last 10 games and eclipsing that by a total of basically 8 points. But what I do worry about though with the Ravens is Joe Burrow has been 6-2 straight up against Lamar and these Ravens the last 8, but 4-4 against the spread. Doesn't really tell you much when you're betting against the favorite because that basically says you need this guy to win, and it doesn't show right now. But I'm with you. This Bengals team is just Joe Burrow, and that's it.
Pretty much. Him and Jamar Chase. Let's go to our underdogs. James, I have the Dolphins plus 3.5, and you have the Indianapolis Colts in what is the largest spread of the week. You have the Colts plus 13.5. I want to get to yours second, though, James. I'll give you mine real quick. Mine's pretty simple. The Dolphins have won 4 in a row. They are on fire. This offense is playing very good, and I've said it all year long that I think the Steelers stink. So I think that this Dolphins team remains hot. I think they go into Pittsburgh, and I think they pull out a win. And I think that this is a win. They get this win. I think Mike McDaniel's job is safe if they get this win.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if they get this win, he is definitely safe. I will say this. I probably will be also on the same line as you betting the Dolphins in this game. Maybe not to win. Definitely give me the 3.5 points like you mentioned. Because I was surprised. I thought they were going to lose to the Jets last week. We talked about Tua in the cold, blah, blah, blah. I was the Jets. And now look, what do we talk about all year? When you bet the Jets and the Titans, you got to look in the mirror and say, what the are you doing? Get a real job. But in this case, I do like the Dolphins just because even though Tomlin and the Steelers are 22-5 straight up on Monday Night Football, they're only 15-12 against the spread on Monday Night Football and 6-6 the last 12 games at home in Pittsburgh. So I am going to go with the Dolphins. Of course, you know me, man. I'm a Tua guy. Jalen Waddle guy, hell, even Mika Fitzpatrick, man, he got himself what do they call it, a pick 2 the other day versus the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you call that.
Yeah,
but
I would call that
a pick 2.
Sounds good to me.
Pick 2.
The other thing too is the Steelers are one of the worst run defenses in the entire NFL, and Devon Achane, I think, as long as he's healthy, which he seems like he's going to be healthy to play in this game. My fantasy teams desperately need him to be, so I might be speaking that into existence. But even if he isn't, I saw a lot of good things last week from Jalen Wright and Ollie Gordon. I think this is a running back group that they will have success on the ground against the Steelers. And I think the Dolphins defense is a little better than people realize, especially in the secondary. And we know how much the Steelers have struggled to move the ball at times this year. So give me the Dolphins. Now, James, I got to hear about this. Colts plus 13.5. The return of Phillip Rivers. Tell me about it, James.
Dude, hey, man, we are vibe checking this, man, so hard right now. Look, the last time I bet a big spread versus the Seahawks, it was the Titans and Cam Ward, and they pulled it off for me. Now I'm going with the 44-year-old old ass. This is just like in The Longest Yard with, forget the character, he was telling Burt Reynolds, I think it was Rob Schneider, get that old ass in the game. That is what the Colts are doing, and guess what? Since the Colts have been under Shane Steichen, they have had 17 games with a backup quarterback. Their record straight up and against the spread 9-8. So we're getting about a balanced team. I still like this Colts team just because we mentioned, I know some of the injuries on the defense side, not on our side, but we still got Jonathan Taylor. I think we can slow this game down. Hey, man, let's lose this game 20-10. But I will say this. Look, underdogs of over 10 points with a win percentage of 60% or more, 21-12 since 2003. Give me that old man. Give me Shane Steichen. You know who I feel bad for in all this? And I know he probably couldn't play. I feel bad for Anthony Richardson, bro.
Yeah.
This should have been his time to
really.
This should have been, hey, we lost our starting quarterback. We drafted you to be the guy. Instead, we decided to choose Phillip Rivers. And that, like you mentioned, we got 2 clips over it since 2020. He hasn't played, and somehow he's the better guy versus a guy who's been in the organization.
Yeah, I feel bad for Anthony Richardson because I think whatever this injury he got, I think it's legit because I don't know if you've heard, James. I've tried to find pictures of what happened to him. They're not even showing no pictures of this injury. It must be
So
super,
sure.
super bad. Whatever happened to Anthony Richardson, his orbital fracture, he's still not cleared to play. Probably not going to play at all this season. It would have been cool to see if he had a chance at a redemption arc. But back to this game with Phillip Rivers. Man, I'll say this. The first drop back that he has is going to tell me everything I need to know. Because if he drops back and like he gets sacked, he might turn straight to dust. But I've always felt like Phillip Rivers is just one of those guys. He's got a level of dog in him that other NFL quarterbacks don't have.
Heck.
And I would not be surprised if all of Phillip Rivers' prop lines, you smash the over on him. Smash the over on his passing yards. Smash the over on his passing touchdowns. I wouldn't be surprised if this old man comes out, and I'm not saying he's going to lead him to a Super Bowl. I don't think that's possible. Do I think he could come out and cover a 13.5-point spread and make this game a little bit more interesting than people are thinking?
Absolutely.
I think Phillip Rivers can come out and be a gamer in this one. All right, let's move to our overs. James, you have the over in the Vegas Raiders versus your Philadelphia Eagles over 38.5. I have the Sunday night game over Dallas Cowboys versus Minnesota Vikings over 47.5. James, we'll start with you. Over 38.5 in the Raiders and Eagles.
Yeah, no, and this is basically another vibe check of mine. Mainly the reason why this total is so low because they're expecting about 15 miles per hour with the winds, or it's going to be 31 degrees. We know the Raiders don't even play in those conditions. So what are we going to get out of this? But I just feel like 38 is too low for a team that we know we talk about all the time. They have everyone on the offensive side for the Eagles except Mekhi Becton, who plays for the Chargers. And yes, there's no Kellen Moore, it's Kevin Patullo. But there were some good things we saw Monday night. We saw Saquon actually look like a running back from last year.
Hey, I said that last week. Now, they didn't get the win, but I did call the 100 yards.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take my consolation prize.
We will take that. Heck yeah. I'll take any dubs right now because right now with the Eagles on a 3-game skid, only really averaging like 20 points a game, 19 points a game. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. But I just think this Eagles offense is going to do all the heavy lifting. Can we get this Eagles defense to, maybe allow 10 points from the Raiders, maybe 13 points from the Raiders? Heck, last week they lost to basically Dicker the kicker. 5 field goals. It's going to be a field goal game. Let's just hope there's no missed field goals here. I know Jake Elliott's been struggling. He may even get cut after this year, just how poorly he's been the last 2 years. But in all honesty, no, I just think this total's too low for the Eagles. If this was at 41, 42, I would bet the under. 38, I think it's a little low. Hopefully AJ Brown's got some stick-em glue after last Monday night. And hey, maybe we get some touchdowns, not taken away off of holding penalties. Eagles, man, I believe in you actually for once to score 27 points this week. You're scoring 27 this week.
I love this. You didn't mention it on the other side of this, but I actually love this over because of the Raiders side here. I think, and I said this briefly earlier in this season, and I didn't really hammer it too much as I should have been because I've felt it for a while. The Raiders starting Kenny Pickett because of the Geno Smith injury, I felt like they should have made this quarterback change not because of injury. They should have made this change weeks ago because of the on-the-field play. And when he came in relief of Geno Smith last week, Kenny Pickett ended up having the longest scoring touchdown play of the season for the Raiders in his pass to Cedric Jackson, right? Relative of Bo Jackson, by the way. But we know they have some playmakers, right? We know they have a great tight end in Brock Bowers. They have what should be a prolific rookie running back in Ashton Jeanty, though he has been very disappointing. I just think there's some weapons on this Raiders offense that even if it's garbage time from them being down 21-0, 28-0, whatever it is, I think there's enough garbage time points in this offense. I don't think they're winning, but I think they can put up some points to get to 38 and a half.
Yeah.
I think we can get there from the Raiders side of things. I could see them getting like 14 points. And then from there, you just need the Eagles to get you 25.
Yeah, it should be a doable feat. Matter of fact, the boys don't be scoring a lot lately, but it's okay. They're scoring a lot this week. I know it. It's going to happen. Screw everyone else. Eagles are scoring. We're still going to say fire Kevin Patullo. Even if we score the most points, we're still doing this.
Well, I'm going in the over in the Cowboys and Vikings game over 47.5 points. Obviously, Cowboys games are constantly hitting over, so that's usually a safe bet, is overs in JJ McCarthy games. This has got to be the week. The Cowboys, despite being better recently, despite being better since they got Quinnen Williams, they showed their true face again last week against the Lions when they gave up 44 points on Thursday night. I think we see more of that defense this week, but JJ McCarthy, please get the damn ball to Justin Jefferson. Now, it's been 2 bad weeks in a row for Justin Jefferson, right? Terrible weeks. One week, they get shut out. The next week, they pitch a shutout. And in both games, Justin Jefferson is completely irrelevant. So I'm not sitting here and saying that's why they have not been successful lately, because they just got a shutout when Justin Jefferson had 2 catches the whole game. But
incredible.
If you stand a chance to hang with this Dallas Cowboys offense, you have got to get Justin Jefferson going. Now, again, is this me speaking and willing and manifesting things for my fantasy teams? Absolutely. You know how I go here, James, and you know I do that a lot of times to my own detriment. But I'm doing it here because I just believe that anyone that's an NFL fan, despite the horrible season, I still think most people are putting Justin Jefferson in the top 10 wide receivers. Maybe most people still put him in the top 5. They just know how bad 9 has been lately. So I'm thinking this is finally the week for Justin Jefferson. This is finally the week for the Vikings offense. Give me 47.5 points in this Sunday night football game.
Yeah, no, I like this over as well. As you mentioned it, Dallas's record right now is 9-4 to the over this year. Their team total is 11-2 to the over this year, and their first half overs are 12-1 right now. They're scoring out of will because either A, they're so far behind in these games, they have to play catch up. Look how it went. I know they didn't get the over in the Eagles game, but down 21, they find a way to score 24 points. You see the game versus the Lions. They were down, it seemed like all game, but they found a way to score 30 plus points. And it's like, wow, this team, we always want them to lose, but man, they find a way to make things happen. Of course, let's get some revenge game on George Pickens after the laziness on that one catch or that one pass that he didn't try. But here in North Say no. But I'm with you though. JJ McCarthy on the over, that does scare me. But if we can get a little bit of that production with the Cowboys, we're fine.
Yeah, Cowboys defense, like I said, they breed over. So let's get our unders out of the way, though. Last ones, under 44.5 in Tennessee, San Francisco. That's what you're going with this week, James. I'm going with the under 39.5 in Browns versus Bears. James, we'll start with you. Tell me about your under here with the Niners and the Titans.
Yeah. So this one is for me is I think, the Niners, they can score points with Kittle and McCaffrey and Purdy, but I just feel like this Titans team just cannot keep up. I know they just finally got a victory. And of course, you would think, hold up, James, they just scored a total of 60 points versus the Browns. They can't score 44 versus the Niners. If it was so easy, everyone would bet the overs. And guess what? The public's betting the over. So we're fading the public in this one. As simple as it can be, Spence. I'm not doing this for I told you so. I'm just doing this because guess what? My record is 35-21. I think I have an idea what's going on. And that under is going to happen to the Vikings. I see the 49ers easily beating the Titans. Of course, it's a 12-point spread. I look at this game 27-10. Call it a day. Let's go home. And guess what? Who would have known, Spence, the team that nobody's been talking about all year that's going to probably be 10-4, the 49ers.
Yeah, I like all your picks. So maybe this is the week you finally have a bad week because I'm backing all your picks. No, I really like this pick. I'm talking about fantasy a lot this week, James, because it's on my mind a lot. It's playoff week. It's officially here on all my leagues. It's the playoffs. So I'm battening down the hatches. And I will say I am starting up the 49ers defense in 2 of my 3 playoff games this week. I love this pick for that reason. Maybe if they're going to go over 44.5, can it at least just be from some defensive touchdowns by the 49ers defense?
Yeah.
That would be preferable. But what I'd most likely see is a ton of sacks, a ton of turnovers, and an ugly game that Christian McCaffrey probably hits the century mark in, and it's like 20-0 would not shock me here. I'll wrap us up, James. I'm taking the under 39.5 Browns versus Bears. Now, this is simple for me. The Browns offense had a field day last week, but they were playing that Titans team that we just talked about. I don't think Shador Sanders is going to have as much success against this Bears defense that just lives and dies by forcing turnovers. I think they force a bunch of turnovers, and I think the Bears on offense, they're going to be able to get the job done on the ground, running away from Myles Garrett every single play with Kyle Monangai, with DeAndre Swift. I think we coast 39.5's a low number, but I think we coast to a very chill bill. Let's call it. I'll give you 20-10. Bears take it home.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on this one. This would have been my under pick because I saw the weather forecast and it's supposed to feel like -20 at Soldier Field. And man, I love me an over. But of course, it was weird. Like last week, the total was 33 with the with the Browns, and it was supposed to be just as cold, and somehow they dropped 60 versus the Titans. But no, I'm with you on this one. I think the Bears have too much firepower now that they realize young guy is basically their what do the Lions call Knuckles and Sonic. Like they found their guy with Swift and him. And I just feel like lately it's always like this when it comes to these colder games and these teams that are trying to make a playoff push. They're playing bully ball right now, and I just think right now this is a perfect under for this team. I'm as much as we love probably rooting for Shadur and all the theatrics with this, and we're going to see a lot of this week. I think CJ Gardner Johnson is going to get a pick, and we're getting it. We're getting it.
Yep. Those are our picks for week 15. Y'all let us know in the comments which ones y'all like the most, and let us know your own picks down below. We will see y'all next week for week 16 of Big Pick Energy, and until then, we will see y'all then. Y'all take it easy.